welcome to the channel, guys. So today I'm going out for a little bit of a ride on the Hayabusa, and I'll do a short little review on it as well and kind of give some snippet of information on it. But without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so as I stated before, this is a 2003 Suzuki Hayabusa. I ended up picking up this bike from an old guy who was getting out of riding, and lo and behold, to me, this guy actually ended up not telling me how much horsepower this bike makes. So I ended up finding out that after we were in the middle of doing the title, that this bike makes 210 horsepower to the wheel. And I haven't ridden in a while, so when I bought this bike like 2-3 months ago, that was a while since I've ridden my last bike, which was a 1997 CBR 900RR, and that thing was pretty wild, and it had no rider aids, just like this bike. This bike is completely analog, no wheelie control, no quick shifter, absolutely no rider aids or helpful electronics in that aspect. So this is just raw performance at its finest. This bike is classified as a sport touring bike, so the insurance on this bike is absolutely dirt cheap. I'm paying about 50-60 bucks for insurance, and that's full coverage for this bike that makes 210 wheel horsepower. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, stock these bikes make like 170, 180. So that is a substantial amount of power. So for the street, I will say that this is almost unusable. This bike is an absolute thrill. This thing is probably the fastest thing in this area. Alright, so going back to why I'm making this video. This video is about doing a short little review on the Hayabusa and just the incredible feeling and the amazing power that it has. If you guys have noticed, I do have some blue tape on that throttle over down there. That's just to see how much throttle I've been giving it, because this is just crazy. If you could see a little bit of movement I do. I will say that because I have not been riding too much, I'm not entirely used to this bike yet. Alright, so going back to this bike, some of the quirks on this bike being that it does make 210 wheel horsepower. It gets hot. This bike stock only has one radiator fan. I did end up buying another radiator fan that I'm going to add to it, but being that it is colder now, I'm not too worried about it overheating. But the Hayabusa absolutely does not like traffic. As I am sitting in traffic, it's currently fine. The Hayabusa does indeed absolutely love the highway. That is where this shines. The riding position on the Hayabusa is a lot more mild compared to other super sport bikes, because this thing is more of a sport touring bike per se, but the beast of a motorcycle that it is absolutely loves going fast. Another thing I will say about the Hayabusa is the fact that my speedometer is also off. It actually reads 10 miles an hour fast. So even though it says I'm going 65, I'm actually going 55, which is a little bit of a pain because I have to do those mental calculations. So it looks like there are some cars, so I won't really be able to do kind of a hard pull. Already see I've barely been giving it any throttle. I'm already in 6th gear and I'm going already at the speed limit, which is just absolutely insane. So right now I'm just kind of keeping up with traffic. Everybody's kind of going a good bit over the speed limit, and I'm still getting past. But this thing is extremely comfortable on the highway. Alright, so engine specs. This thing has a big bore kit. It makes 210 wheel horsepower, and that's about it. For the most part, other than that, it's pretty stock. It does have some weird odds and ends, like it doesn't have one of the front calipers, which is a little odd. Performance-wise, this bike absolutely just starts pulling once it gets past a certain speed. Once you really get into the RPM, the power band, like 5,500, 6 grand, this thing just pulls, and it just wants to keep going. Wind-wise, there's quite a bit of wind going highway speeds. The only thing is I do have this small tinted windscreen. As you can see, this thing just eats the highway up. Alright, that concludes the ride. Thank you guys for watching.